Hi folks, it's a video for Music Theory Fundamentals, and this is the first video for chapter 4. Hopefully, probably only 2 videos needed for this shorter chapter, but we'll see. So chapter 4 is all about subdivision and syncopation, which are both related to rhythm, of course, as opposed to pitch. Of course, pitch is also necessarily involved here, but most of the phenomenon of subdivision, or division, subdivision, and syncopation has to do with rhythm and durations and relations of rhythm to the underlying pulse. Okay, that's really important. So up till now, we've basically been using the word division and subdivision more or less interchangeably, or at least I have on some of these videos. We've kind of used either one to mean how a certain rhythm or a certain duration is divided into shorter durations. So a whole note, for example, we can think of as being divided and subdivided into 2 half notes, which is divided into 4 quarter notes, divided into 8 eighth notes, divided into 16 16th notes, and so forth. So we haven't been making a distinction between that word division and subdivision, but now we need to make that distinction because, well, your book wants us to, but it's also important to understand, to have a different layer beneath mere division. So let's look at what your book says here. First, it wants us to listen to this example, so let's do that. Great. So it says the left-hand melody, so the bass clef, right, moves primarily in quarter notes. You see this, right? Boo, doo, 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 right? This movement down here with a few eighth notes at the end over here, right? Okay. So these durations, let's think about these 2 durations. So we have quarter notes and then at the end some eighth notes. The beat, okay, is the quarter note, right? That's the pulse, the beat, the individual beats are represented by quarter notes. Of course, you could have known that just by looking at the key signature, as we know. The bottom number, not the key signature, I'm sorry, in the time signature, the bottom number tells you what the beat will be, and the beat keeping duration. So a 4 means quarter notes, and the 2 means how many per measure. So we know that the beat is quarter notes, and the beat divisions are eighth notes. So regular division, as opposed to subdivision, beat division is the next layer down from the beat, right? So the beat divides, its first division is into quarter notes. Into eighth notes, I'm sorry. If the beat is quarter, right, beat is quarter, so the next layer down, the first division is into 2 eighth notes. So this right hand, the faster durations, the 16th notes, is what we call the beat subdivision. Why isn't it doing it? Beat subdivision. And the way we count these is 1E and a, right? And you see that here. 1E and a, 2E and a. So if my quarter note is this, 1, 2. So in 2/4, 1, 2, 1, 2. So my hand's gonna just clap quarter notes, and I'm gonna sing the beat division. So 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So the beat subdivision 16th notes are even faster, and we count those like 1E and a 2E and a 3E, 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 for every quarter note. So again, beat division, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and ta, 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 ta. 2 for every hand clap, and the beat subdivision will be 4. Ta 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 ta. 1 E and a 2 E and. So that's the concept here to remember that I've highlighted. In simple meters, the beat divides into 2s and subdivides, so divides into 2s and subdivides into 4. So a quarter note divides into 2 eighth notes and subdivides into 4 quarters. Now, this is really important. There are multiple combinations of 16th notes, right? Where, like this one, where we have an 8th and 2 16th notes, and it gives you patterns, possibilities, and there's only 7 possibilities for how a quarter note can be divided and subdivided, right? Not including rests, but there's only 7 possible rhythms that we could get from dividing and subdividing quarter notes. The division is simple. It's just this one, number 1, right? Ta, 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 1 and 2 and 1 and, right? 1 and. And then when we subdivide with 4 16th notes, we get this number 2 here, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 1 E and a. So here's the rest of the possibilities. 1 and a. Notice how this rhythm leaves out the E. See this E, letter E? When we take that out, we get 1 and a. 1 and a, 1 and a, 1 and a, ta, 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 ta. And then number 4 here is with the E and the and, but no see the A here? Always come back to this, right? 1 E and a is all 4 16th notes at the subdivision level. So this number 3 gets rid of the second 16th note, but keeps the 3rd and the 4th. Number 4 has the second 16th note, the E, and the 3rd, but not the 4th. So again, here's number 3, 1 and a 1 and a 1 and a 1 and a. Here's number 4, 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and ta ta ta. And here are the other ones. Number 5 has 1 E but no and, so it has 16th notes 1, 2, and 4. Right? But the second 16th note here, notice how it's written as an 8th note. And that's fine because it's taking up these 2 16th notes. 1 E, a 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 1 E, ta 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 ta. No, sorry. Ta 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 ta. And number 6, 1, this first possibility, this first note, is held out for 3 16th notes. That's why there's a dot. It's an 8th note with the dot. Remember, a dot adds half the duration to the already current duration. So an 8th note, what's half the duration of an 8th note? 16th note. So we have 3 16th notes worth of time here, and then this last 16th note of the subdivision. So if again, here's 16th notes, ta 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 ta, 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 1 E and a. Here's number 6, 1 a 1 a 1 a 1 a 1, right? 1 E and 1 a 1. And here's the reverse. We're 1 E, so the second 16th note gets all of the time, and the first 16th note is quick. So 1 E, 1 E, 1 E, 1 E. Okay, so that's subdividing the 7 possible subdivisions of the quarter note and their possible rhythms, not including rests. And we won't go through all of these, but suffice to say that you can put a rest anywhere within that subdivision. Okay, look at all these rhythms here that have rests for 16th notes. Remember, these are 16th rests right here with 2 curly cues, and these are 8th rests with 1. And these are all the other possibilities. So how do some of these rhythms sound? Let's listen to the first 4 measures of this Scott Joplin piece. Okay. Now, if we just take this first measure, and these are played in octaves, the bass clef and the treble clef are playing the same pitches an octave apart. And here's how we count this, right? So remember, here's our subdivision with all 16th notes: top E and 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and this one, this rhythm, this first one is 1 right? 1 1 1. That's just the first one, and the second quarter note, 2 E and 2 E and 2 E and. So put them together: 1 2. 1 2 E and. I'll just repeat it: 1 2 E and 1 2 E and so forth. I made just a little. I'm going to try to show you how this looks with the full subdivision next to it. So take a look at this. Oh man. Sorry, let me fix this real quick. Well, why don't I just delete these letters, because they're just going to look confusing. But what I've done here on the bottom staff with these X's, that's the subdivision, the total subdivision. So that's 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. And this rhythm on the top is the same as the Scott Joplin rhythm we just listened to. So 1, this first note lines up with the first 16th note here. 1, and it takes up E and, right? See how this rhythm takes up 3 16th notes. Then this pitch, this D here, is on the 4th 16th note. So 1 E and 1 right? 1 1. That's this first rhythm. 1 1 1. And the second quarter note's worth of time, right? There's no actual quarter notes, but beat 2 subdivides as it must into 4 16th notes. So again, we're not hearing this in the song. I'm just including this so you can see, so you can visualize the subdivision, the beat subdivision. And the rhythm here, 2 E and 2 E and 2 E and 2 E and. So it's on 2 E and, not on 2 E and 2 E and. Again, this first 1 I can't clap and do the mouse at the same time, but 1 1 1 1. So again, this first rhythm takes up 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 1 E. Second one, 1 2 E and 1 2 E and 1 2 E and. All right. So look back at the Joplin here. One, 2 E and then it is a little different in the second measure. We won't go through the whole thing, but that's how we deal with beat subdivisions. Okay. Great. Before we close out this video, let's talk about beaming. This can be a tricky thing for a lot of beginning theory students. So this key concept is important here. Let's give this a little green highlight. So the beaming of rhythmic patterns should reflect the beat unit, as an example 4.4. What that means is that, well, it tells you notes that sound within the same beat should be beamed together. Do not beam across the beat. That is really the ultimate point to make here, that within a given beat, beat 1, beat 2, in the case of a 2/4 simple duple meter, you only beam notes together that are within a beat, within beat 1 and beat 2. And it gives you this example. So you would beam this rhythm 1 and a, 1 and a. There's this first one, right? This 8th note and these 2 16th notes, 1 and a. I'll sing the second 8th note. So this would go 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and. Pay attention though, what's happening here? We have 8th, 2 16ths, 2 8ths. 1 8th note, 2 16ths, and 2 8th notes. So this is what you should not do, is beam it as it shows you here, right? Now you might say, well, what's the difference? This is 1 8th note, 2 16ths, and then 2 8th notes, just like this one, 8th, 2 16ths, and 2 8ths, 8, 2 16ths, and 2 8ths. But the problem, why this is incorrect, the beaming in right here that we're looking at, is that you've beamed across different beats. Do not beam across different beats. You beam within the same beat. And what, if this is confusing, look here. So if on beat 1, 1 is this 8th note, this first 16th note, sorry, would be on and, 1 and like this, 1 and So we can't have and, 1 and, start a beam, right? 1 and 2. And then when we can't have a downbeat, so we can't have beat 2 have a beam that's connected to something before it. It's a little confusing. It might sound a little confusing, but really it's simple to, or if you get confused, it's simple to remember the rule that all beams happen within the same beat, right? And never across the beat or across different beats like we have here. Let's look at this example. In fact, I want to show you on the PDF here. Let me stop sharing this. This way I can draw on it. Here we go. Where is, let me double check where this is. Okay. Go up a little. I think it's right here. Okay. So if we're looking at this example, this is from your textbook too. This is just a PDF of it. So what is the problem if this shows you example 4.5, incorrect on the top and then correct right below it? What is it that's making one correct and one incorrect? Well, let's look right here. So both 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and this is wrong up here. So we have 3, and then on the and, up here we've started a beam and gone across into beat 4. So remember, we're in 4/4 now. So we've taken this beam and crossed the threshold of where beat 3 ends, right? Beat 3 ends on this 8th note, and beat 4 begins here. So that's why this is right and this is wrong. This beam here is gross. You'll get the hang of looking at something like that and being absolutely disgusted, right? I will indoctrinate you into that. Likewise, over here. So let's get rid of this stuff. What's wrong in this second measure? So on beat 1, this first rhythm, 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and. Let's sing the whole thing. Or the 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and. So this is the same exact rhythm. Technically, it's still 2/16, right? 2/16 here, 2/16 here, 2/8, 2/8, and then a third eighth. The problem, of course, is that this beam, whoops, happens where? Across beat 1. So beat 1 ends here, and beat 2 begins here. And this beam is going across that threshold between beat 1 and beat 2. You are beaming across beats. Huge, huge no-no, right? So this is the correct way down here. This beam beams just inside of beat 1. Beat 2 has a new beam only inside beat 2. And this beam is a big problem, okay? Okay, so that's where we'll stop this part 1 of our review of chapter 4. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll come back with part 2 that deals with ties and syncopation and looking at the triplet, a new rhythm for us. All right. Okay. Email me with questions. Take care.